All right, EXPs, thank you guys for joining us for our latest edition of Pop-Up Discussions. We are doing something different tonight, and we are doing a live EXP check-in. So we have this cool post that I do every Saturday where we just post photos. But I was like, let's do something different. Let's get some EXPs on here, and let's just talk about life during the pandemic, how everybody's adjusting, and give you guys a chance to say hi and to comment. So if you know any of the EXPs that are currently here, drop them a hi, a comment, let them know that you appreciate them, you're glad to see them, you miss them, you can't wait to work another event, whatever that may be. Just let us know in the comments. And if you guys have any questions that you would like to ask or have any one of our EXPs answer, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we're going to do our best to get to it. We got a big group here. We just had somebody else join, Martin, which I'll add in a second. But I want to go ahead and go around really quick and just do brief introductions. So I'm going to start with Jessica, but if you guys can just go around, let everybody know what market you're based in, how long you've been doing experiential marketing events, and what is your favorite position to work in. All right, Jessica.
All right. Hey, I'm Jessica Bradford. My market is Alabama. And for the past 5 years, I've been in the industry. And my favorite position is event manager.
Alicia. Oh, we can't hear.
Hello, my name is Alicia Bell. I've been in the experiential marketing industry for 17 years. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and also nationwide. And my favorite marketing position would be event manager, anything higher than
that. Dirty South.
Hello. If you've ever worked with me, you probably know me as Christina, but on the internet and everywhere else, I'm Dirty South Yankee. I'm based mostly out of New York and Atlanta because I just moved down there a few months ago. But I also work nationwide, and I like any position that pays me that I get to work with an amazing team.
All right, Raven. Oh, Raven's frozen. Guess we'll come back to Raven. Gabby, go ahead.
All right. So I am Gabrielle Sanjuli Irvin, and I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but I also travel nationwide. I would say my favorite position, I do like event manager. I agree with everyone else. I like tour manager as well. That was awesome, traveling around the country, showing new products to everybody. Freaking amazing.
All right. Matt.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt. I've been in event marketing since 2007, representing ATL. And my favorite position has to be the mascot position. That is just so fun to just go wild. I've been a peanut. I've been a big fish stick. I have been that Twinkie the Kid. I was the letter T. Alicia, were you part of that when we did the ATL, the playground? Yeah, me and Alicia did that. That was cool. If you've ever been downtown near Georgia State, they have a park, and it's the letters are A, T, and L, and they made a park out of those three letters. It's just really cool. But I'm talking too much, and y'all, Beatrice is up next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Beatrice Etienne. I'm here in Miami, Florida, Sunshine State. Woo, woo. So my favorite, I would say position would be probably the event manager, where I'm in charge of everything, dealing with the client, dealing with the agency, dealing with the staff. So being the middleman in between everyone. So this is my favorite all time. But I'm in Miami. I also travel for tours depending on the position.
And how long you been in the industry?
Oh, it's been 11 years now.
Okay, cool. All right. And John Lacombe.
Hello. My name is John Lacombe. I've been full-time around 10 years, done random events before then, before I knew it was a real full industry. I love, of course, to be a tour manager, but my most fun and favorite events are usually emceeing, just because I like to joke and be loud and draw a crowd.
All right, Martin.
Hey, how y'all doing? Martin from Atlanta. And for me, I like to do the logistics. Actually, I like working on the corporate side and planning out and laying out the logistics, pitching it to the client, and also being ahead of the newest trends and stuff in marketing and seeing what we're going to push out and what kind of events we're going to get to plan out.
And how long have you been in the industry?
So in the industry, I've been 5 years. I took a small break, but before that, I used to do alcohol marketing. So overall, about 10 years.
All right. And Raven?
Hi. My name is Raven. I'm in the Atlanta market, and I've been in the industry since 2012 full time. So, yeah, I like the production side. I like to, put things together and then see the outcome. Yeah.
All right. So as you guys can see, ATL is in here real strong tonight. But aside from that, we have a very well-versed, a very experienced group of EXPs joining us. But on another note, we all know that the pandemic has hit our industry hard. So I definitely want to talk, and I want to give the EXPs an opportunity to discuss how they've been able to pivot during this time, whether they've been able to execute events or find additional work outside of the industry. Because I think it's important for other EXPs to hear your stories and to hear how you've been able to maintain during this time. So whoever wants to jump in first, I'm going to take myself off the screen, but whoever wants to jump in first and tackle this question, you guys go ahead.
All right. So I'll say for me, being in the industry, it made me like a natural born hustler. So it's so easy to find something else to do. It's just whether or not I want to do it or not. And that was the main thing for me. I just had to say, you know what? I'm gonna have to get a job because I'm scared. I don't know what's gonna happen to the industry. So I got a job at Amazon being a delivery driver. I hated it and I quit it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do Instacart full time so I can have my schedule back and do like Uber Eats and things like that. And then I did like, what's it called? A store remodel for Dollar General. And that was pretty much it. That's how I pretty much made my income. Finally got the unemployment after 10 years. But yeah, everything worked out. And it was all just about finding little side jobs like I always do. And eventually my events start coming back.
I think that's a really good point. All of us, and most of us know each other, a large amount of us know each other from Atlanta. And, we're natural born hustlers. I think a certain characteristic and personality fits into this industry. And we're usually always working on things already on the side. And for me, it was about reinvesting my time into those projects, those pet projects. And more than anything for me, I've spent my time actually just investing in myself. I found out that I have astigmatism and never could see clearly until about 4 months ago. I had never gotten an eye exam because I didn't think I had any problems. Just investing in my health, really getting organized to another level, really taking a time to do things where normally in this industry, you want to use that momentum when you have it. You never want to stop. And learning how to stop and learning how to really be still has been a very important part of what I'm doing, and probably more important than the side hustles that I'm using to generate income.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right, ladies, come on. Beatrice, I'm going to jump on you then. What have you been doing?
Well, with the pandemic, I have 3 teenagers at home. So the first thing was actually caring to them and catering to them. So I've been busy tutoring and being a teacher for the first month or so. It was all about homework, getting on the Zoom calls with the teachers, making sure that every single class was being done. And then my oldest one graduated from high school. So it's also dealing with graduation, dealing with what's going on with him, and also dealing with the pressure of him not having a senior year. And I think it was very tough on him, being that the last year he wanted to be with his friends. He wanted to do everything that us seniors have to do. He didn't get a chance to do that. So it's dealing with that kind of pressure. So it's been a crazy madhouse for the first month. Now it's definitely better. Finally, my unemployment kicked in. So right now I'm mostly investing in myself, in my home. as of tomorrow, I'm actually looking into finally creating my LLC because it's been something on my mind for the longest. But now that I have time, I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna go to UPS, get my PO box documentation down, and then creating that account, and then creating a banking account as well. So right now, the end of the week is concentrating on that. Luckily for me, I've always been the person who's always been saving. So I was able to go ahead and live with the savings until my unemployment and stimulus check came in. So that's a recommendation I tell to people all the time. Whatever money you make, you don't run and just say, hey, I just got the big lump sum of money because I was on tour, and you go spending it. You have to think about what about the time that we won't be working, because our industry, it's unfortunate that's the kind of industry that we work in. This month we may be very busy and you don't have time to sit down. And the next month you're like, okay, what am I going to be doing now? Let me go back to tastings. So you have to be really mindful about saving your money and not spending just for the fun of it. So I was able to survive.
All right. Gabby, Matt, any thoughts on that?
Hey, Beatrice, I was just going to say, don't forget, you have to have 3 names when you go ahead and submit your LLC to the government. At least in Georgia, you do. I'm not sure how it is where you are, but that was one of the hardest parts. I actually just did it a couple of days ago, and I was just trying to come up with different names. Corp, it has to be, John's Corp or LLC, John's LLC or John's Co. or Beatrice Company. You know what I mean? So you have to have the LLC, the Co, the Corp. You have to have those suffixes in there as well. So coming up with the name just as challenging. So yeah, I've got a few LLCs myself. I had to create one last year for a tour that I went on. That was a veggie burger tour for Walmart. That was a lot of fun. But actually, they had to pay me through my LLC. So that actually worked out in this situation, the pandemic. Because they were doing the PPP. So that really helped my business. And yeah, it's just been wild. It's been really, really challenging, I think, for everybody. With the kids and just kind of tying all the loose ends. But, as Ray Van said, we're hustlers. You know what I mean? I think we're all born for this. You know what I mean? Because we don't do the same thing in March that we're doing in April, unless you're on tour. You know what I mean? You've got, a Yellow Daisy Festival coming up or whatnot. And, you've got that already set up for September, but you want to do football games, you know what I mean, in the fall after that. So you just have your calendar of events. If you're a new person, something cool to do is just kind of go through, city websites and see what big events are happening, kind of set yourself up for 2021. I know we're about halfway through the year, and this next half is going to probably fly by. It's probably going to be a ton of events. You know what I mean? It's going to be January before you know it, and you won't really, it'll be the downtime, I guess, in January kind of. But, it's good to set yourself up for success for 2021 while we have this downtime, because sometimes we get kind of caught in the middle of all these events and stuff, and maybe you're on tour and what's next, you know what I mean? You should always have that plan B. To Beatrice for making that next step in the LLC. And I think everybody, I'm not sure if everybody has that, but I encourage everyone to do that before everything goes back to normal or 2.0, whatever it is, whatever you guys want to call it.
All right, Gabby and Dirty South, and then we're going to talk to all the parents. So I'm going to let you 2 ladies chime in on that. How have you been able to pivot during this time?
So I was doing Instacart as well, but then it started getting hacked. So like all our jobs were getting stolen, and I was babysitting, which was like a hot mess. So 4 and a 6-year-old, and they were crazy. And it was okay because I was making the same amount of money between the babysitting and Instacart, and it was great. But then the Instacart started getting hacked a lot, and then the people I was working for, both parents were furloughed, so they were at home now. So then that got slashed, and I was a little worried. My unemployment came through right away. This is my first time ever since I started working at 16 to be on unemployment, so it was kind of scaring me. But I, put my focus into doing certifications like renewing tips and all the other extra little ones. Was the ServeSafe was another one that I did, and just staying healthy, going for walks every other day. Just, if I'm not working, I have to do something. and keeping in touch with friends and family and other EXPs too, just to see how they're doing, because we're all in the same boat.
All right, Dirty South.
Well, I did not receive anything, so I actually almost got kicked out of my apartment at one point. And then Shipt hired me, which I was very grateful for, because ever since then, I've been able to pay on my apartment I almost got kicked out of in Atlanta and be here in Savannah with my mom, because she had asked me to come here because we actually have a family member who is dying of cancer that got stuck out of the country when all of this started. And that's been a whole other thing to try to deal with the way travel. It's a lot, but Shipt has been absolutely amazing. I applied for a lot of other things that I did not get, and I was very frustrated, but then it came in at the most optimal time. And that's basically what I've been doing, because Savannah's such a small market, and especially if like you have a certain mindset and you're used to being a fish in a bigger pond, it's much easier to maneuver and maximize, your potential, especially if you're really into customer service based gigs and making sure that people have a good experience with the company that you're working for. And I'm trying to do my LLC too, so yay for that. That's also on my agenda to get done in the next couple weeks. So yeah.
Right. Miss Bradford, what you got going on?
So my last two events was Bassmasters in March, and then NCAA got canceled while we was in Nashville. That definitely was an eye opener, because we was literally sitting in the restaurant when they said, it's canceled. We work tomorrow, but it was already canceled. So that was a wake up call in general. I tried the Instacart, picked up, slowed down. My unemployment came through really quickly, so I was thankful for that. Other than that, I am doing the bartending and barista classes, and then also looking for other jobs that's leading into the criminal justice field, which is what I originally had my degrees in. So it's just making second moves.
All right. So I'm going to talk to the parents really quick. How have you guys been managing with your kids and the children during this time? Miss Alicia, I'm going to let you start this conversation off.
Okay. Well, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, for me, it's been interesting. I've always been a busy mother, a busy working mother at that. I never really had the luxury to kind of like stay at home, chill with my kid all day. I've never really experienced that, only when he was like just born. So for me, it was complete survival mode. I am on the opposite end of Patrice, where I had no money saved. I had no money. And that was like an eye-opener situation, because when you work in EXP, you think you're gonna have this, and this coming in, so you'll be okay. Like I literally had like maybe 15 or 16 jobs in the month of March canceled. And that is like a total of almost $5,000 or $7,000, I think. And I had a big opportunity to work the Tom Joyner cruise, and it was at the end of March, and it was going to St. Martin, St. Kitts, and San Juan, and it was paying like $4,000. And of course that tanked. So for me, it was kind of restructuring my thinking, restructuring my finances, getting my house in order financially, so something like this won't happen again. I do work part-time with Delta Airlines for the past 3 years. So thankfully, they laid us off and they filed for unemployment for us. So I get unemployment automatically, like it came through like maybe beginning of April, and I've been receiving it and going to keep receiving it until they let us come back. So it could be a year. Like we We're not sure. But other than that, I've been able to kind of do jobs on the side as well. Of course, the Instacart was clutch. It really came through. I do DoorDash. I've been able to do Uber Eats and Lyft because I just purchased a vehicle in April. So for me, the pandemic has been a blessing to my household. You know, it's actually kind of saved a lot of things and also put a lot of things for me financially in perspective and not kind of counting on the jobs that are coming in to pay my bills, you know, so because everybody's kind of in that boat, like we're all like, you know, 1-2 paychecks away. You know, just when you work in that lifestyle, you know, we're kind of used to getting our rent in like a week. You know, most people it takes a whole month to get the rent. So, you know, I can make it in a day, but lately it's been something that I have to keep hustling with. And then with my son, I have an awesome partner that we work well as a team as far as raising our son. But I was able to secure a scholarship for him to go to daycare, and we pay a very small amount each week for him to go. So he goes to daycare part-time. He can go full-time, but sometimes I just have him there while I work a couple of hours. But that's good for a year, and it's based on the zip code that I live in. So just literally like I had to sit down and just hone in and just, you know, be like that warrior mom for my son and my family, because I wasn't going to let this kind of bulldoze me, because if I was a single girl, it probably would have, like, I probably would have been like homeless or living back home with my mother. Like I just had to, you know, get serious about my life, and I did.
That's good. Martin, thank you for sharing that, Alicia.
You're welcome.
Oh, you're on mute. Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Now we can hear you.
Now?
Yeah.
All right. So I did a lot of the remodels too, the Dollar Generals. I did a lot of the Hallmark switching over remodels. And the thing is that I will say, even if you have money put away, which, you know, I had just gotten off a 2-year, you know, off and on tour thing. I had put money away. You go through this phase, and then you start seeing your savings dwindle, you know, all this nest egg that you've put aside. So even if you know, no matter what, you start watching that, and little by little, it starts like, did I save up enough? You know, and I worked so hard to save up that money, but I was glad it was there. And I worked really hard to keep and retain as much of it as I could. I got to spend a ton of time with my daughter. And the thing is that, you know, she doesn't understand at her age, oh, you know, Home Depot's closed, so we can't go do our Sunday projects that they have for the kids. Or, you know, Barnes & Noble is closed, so they don't have story time on Saturdays. So I really had to focus on trying to replace those events for her and do those at home, like, you know, planting a garden with her or building little things with her at home. So that was one of my main focus too, as a family. Now that we're coming back into this market, I will say that you really can tell how well you foster the relationships, because all these companies are now, you're at the top of their list. So now everybody's emailing, everybody's saying, hey, we want the best people coming back into this market, and we want to hit it hard. So it's been nice to be able to, if I can't take the job, to refer it out to somebody and say, hey, look, you know, I'm back at AT&T, I'm back doing this, but I have an amazing person in Alabama, in, you know, wherever that market is, that can probably help you. And it's good to see those relationships get fostered. I think we really, like I had mentioned before, have to weigh what the new normal is. So what is the new normal for events? What does that mean, like with spacing? What does that mean that with, you know, being more sanitary? What does that mean as far as interactions with people?
All right. Matt, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's been hard. I mean, I think, just being honest, yeah, it's been really hard. But, you know, like Martin, I was on tour last year, so I was lucky to have saved a little bit, you know, not planning on using it. I was saving it, you know, for just the future for my son's future, for his school and his education. But I ended up being the teacher. So I guess I am kind of saving a little bit. So I ended up teaching him a lot. We had a lot, like Beatrice said, we had a lot of the online classes with his school, and they were fantastic about giving us little grids, maybe like 9 or 24 squares with, an activity in each square, whatever it was. My son learned how to make quesadillas. He's 6 years old. Just for clarity, though, he did try and cook his Pokemon cards too. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't all good, but he's grown so much, I think, and I've been able to see that firsthand. I guess being on the road so much I did a lot of auto shows. I was traveling a lot with that when he was first born, and full-time job and doing the tour stuff. So it's really been honestly a blessing in disguise to spend so much more time with my son Victor, and kind of just be there for him, whatever he needs, whenever he needs it. Go to the parks and work out. Now he's doing a camp. Alicia, you got to private message me with that scholarship info, but he seriously, yeah, that is amazing. But yeah, he's at the Y locally and he is loving it. He is like so tired after each day. So it's been great for him. So he's been going for the last 2 weeks, and last Friday they had like a huge water day. So pools are just opening, you know what I mean? Would have been nice to have that kind of a couple months back, but this pandemic is not over, you know what I mean? So just have to keep grinding, you know what I mean? Like Martin said, keep in contact with those account managers that you worked with, maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, or when you first started, you know what I mean? Maybe they've changed companies. Maybe they're with AT&T now, or they used to be with Verizon. Maybe they can, get you onto a full-time position. They're starting to be out there. I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to add me on there. But yeah, there's a lot of positions out there, and it's been really good. But yeah, I've just been super thankful to spend more time with my son, and I guess that's really it. Just been a blessing, to be honest.
All right, and Beatrice, I'm gonna let you finish up. Anything else you want to add with regards to family that you've learned during this time?
You know what? It like Matt said, it is definitely a blessing, because you got a chance to spend time with your family, because we all have been on the run. And I know for the past 11 years, I've been nonstop. I've missed several holidays, several birthdays, because I'm either traveling or I'm on tour. I know one year I missed Thanksgiving. I was actually with you in New Orleans. And it was like, oh my goodness, my family, everyone's like video chatting me, and they're all together partying, and me, I'm working. So I'm finally with the kids. So I get to see what they're going through. I get to see, what's going on. I get to have a closer contact with the teachers. I saw their grades improving also with the last grading period that they had. So definitely it put your life also in perspective, where you're saying, okay, it's important to work, but you also have to be able to juggle and say, you know what, I need to spend time also with the family, because your family at the end of the day is very important. It's the most important, because work will come and go, but your family won't. You don't want to miss the first 5 years, the first 10 years, the first 18 years, because you're so busy hustling and busting. So it is definitely a blessing. I'm a Christian for me. I don't know for you guys. So I've been spending more time. I'm doing a lot of prayer time, a lot of Bible study. So it's really been, definitely a blessing. So I can only thank God for that, I'm still roaming with the punches, still going with the punches, and it's still good.
All right. So thank you guys for all that. Go ahead.
I'm going to add something real quick. Yeah, I'm going to just piggyback on what you said. This is the first time in 8 years that I am not in New Orleans for Essence Fest. And it's crazy because, like, last year, you know, I had to drive to Alabama where my mom lived, drop my kid off, and then go to work and then come back. And like, I missed the 4th, you know, with my child. So, you know, and it was like his somewhat first 4th, like it was really his second, but he was like 2 months for his first 4th. But this year, you know, we're actually like going to a barbecue, like doing something as a family, you know, and I feel like that's really great. And then also when I'm doing these jobs, I make sure I make him breakfast every morning. Like I don't go to work until I take, you know, breakfast, take him to daycare, or Sundays, I take Sundays off so we can watch church and we can actually like spend quality time. So I would have never been able to do that working a promo. So normally they're like, what? If you can't work on Sunday, you can't work the promo. So it's just been a blessing in disguise.
All right. Thank you guys all for sharing your stories. And I think that is key, you know, taking this time to not only reflect personally, but spend time with family has been a blessing for me as well. So I definitely thank you guys for sharing that. But I want to talk about this topic of unemployment because all of you, including myself, I just filed here in Georgia and it is garbage. I'm having a trouble. But I want to hear from you guys. Like, how have you been able to navigate this whole unemployment circle and this unemployment process? Like, what have you learned? What, if you have found employment, what have you learned? And what are some tips for people that are still looking or having trouble filing or haven't received unemployment yet? Who has unemployment? Let's see. John. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. Hold on. I'm gonna let John start off with that. Let's see. Okay, go ahead, John.
Being in Florida, I think we might be one of the worst states on the program. You know, I'm not going to get into politics, but I think about 2 months before I got a check, and then I got 2 checks, and then it stopped paying me. And now they're not paying me the right amount. I'm not getting federal, so there's been a big challenge there. And then we have on the other end, you know, me and Vigar is the issues because this whole thing happened where there's a lot of outstanding invoices for our company. And luckily, we did qualify for some of the federal programs for businesses that really helped us along in regards to that because we paid our people out. We pay all our employees out within a week. And I pretty much paid that all out of my pocket. And then I didn't get unemployment for, you know, and so it's been a challenge in that regards. Luckily, you know, I don't spend a lot on anything and I had money and I've just been like Matt said earlier, you know, eating into the money that you didn't want to and that you had plans for, but we all in the same boat. So I'm like, if the ship is sinking, we're doing it together. And so I'm, you know, I don't have any pride at all on doing what I have to do to survive and cutting where I need to cut. And in some ways, this helped me like gain control of some of the things that I was spending too much on, like eating out. You know, when you go on the road and you get used to the habits, that was something that I really was hard for me to break until I had no option, right? And so it's been a unique challenge. But unemployment for those people in Florida, the governor, you know, he was saying that it was the people's fault. The website was down for 2 months. It's a real big challenge. I know that's not totally unique to Florida, but I can feel for everybody out there. Here's the thing that I think about. You know, when I was growing up, if my dad missed one check, there was not one check to miss. There wasn't even the one check wasn't enough. So I think, you know what, I'm gonna raise hell as much as I can raise hell. I'm gonna harass who I gotta harass officially because there's people who can't. There's people who are out there trying to figure out one check out. They're losing their house. Their kids can't eat, and that ain't me. I can go without any money. I can handle it. So that's the frustration that I think about. When I say, look, if I'm going through this, what about the parents and the other people who don't have any savings, who are working minimum wage and doing all that? Can you imagine? You know, so that's what I think about. And I think that some of us are blessed to at least not have to be in that position. And some of us are facing those challenges. And I just want to say that I feel for those people and everybody. I'm here, you know, in our company, we were paying people just random. We did like a lottery system to try to pay people some money, and we tried to donate to what we could, you know, but even as a company, you know, our belts are tightened, you know, so it's tough.
Anybody else want to add to that? Their unemployment experiences?
I'll say something. I was blowing up their phone. Like, Any number I could find. I have a whole list in my phone of all the numbers and their extensions of who I needed to call. And I would send it to anybody, who would ask for it. Just blowing up all their lines, leaving messages on the answer machine. I had one of my best friends. She was blowing them up on LinkedIn, finding out who worked in the office. She got a hold to somebody and they called us back. And then we were tag teaming. All right, when you get them on the phone, call me on 3-way so I can talk to them too. And we kind of worked it like that. So yeah, just anything. I felt like that kind of helped us get our stuff looked at. And because like maybe a week or two later, I finally got something because it took forever for it to even process in the system. But I would say just continue to blow their phone up, leave a whole bunch of comments on their Facebooks for Atlanta. That's pretty much how it worked for us. And make sure if you never had unemployment that you have an affidavit on file with them, or else you can't receive any benefits. But yeah, that's it.
All right. So
anybody else?
Yeah. Please.
For me, I would suggest that people. It may seem far-fetched, but I would suggest that people get some sort of like steady side job, like what I did with Delta. I've just worked that job for the free flights. I don't work there because I just love working for Delta. Like I work there because I want to fly for free. And I just happen to get paid a little $8 an hour, but it really helped when it's time to be unemployed because they did it for us. And I don't have to claim every single week. Like it was a smooth process. I feel like it's kind of slighted a little bit with the system. They look out for corporations first. So you kind of want to get on that train if you want to. I think it's a little hard with people like ourselves. But I was blessed to be with a company that, is looking out for you and they pay into unemployment benefits. So you kind of want to do something, maybe do a little side gig like Raven was doing with Amazon or something, just something, just so like when it's time to go on unemployment, they'll have you on the list and you can get money and you don't have to go through all that because a lot of people are in Georgia, they're still waiting. And it's like, how are they able to pay their own bills?
Ms. Bradford, go ahead.
I would say it wasn't a hard process for me. It was real easy. I guess, hey, Alabama is slow. So I got that one letter and it was to call me. And I called the girl and she was like, I don't even understand what you are. So she was trying to put together this company. She was like, so what do you call yourself? So just having to explain to her on exactly what I do and exactly my position in the industry. But luckily I had full-time and part-time jobs to where I had already paid in my taxes. So that's what really saved me too. But at the end of the day, when she put in my information as to I was an independent contractor, self-employed, it was like I got a monetary determination in the mail like a couple days later, and then that was it on verifying my information. And I've been blessed to have unemployment.
That's good. That's good. Gabby, Dirty South, Martin, you guys' experiences?
I agree with Rayvon. Georgia, it was a hot mess. I think the website crashed on me. I think it was 2 weeks. I was going on every day. It was crashing. At least you found numbers. So I couldn't find numbers. And then finally it went through, but I couldn't put in all the jobs I worked or most of them. And it was just a hot mess. But then all of a sudden I get the card with the money on it. And I was like, what is this? They didn't even say, I thought I put in my direct deposit. It was a hot mess. I do not wish that upon anybody.
The only thing I applied for was the non-filers. I guess that's the stimulus PUE. I was confused by all of it. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even file for that until probably 3 weeks ago, just because I've been so caught up in trying to deal with this family situation and get this person back over here. And I just was like, I don't have time. I don't have time for it. Like, Georgia is one of the most ass backward states about everything in life. And I heard everybody else's horror stories. And I was like, Chip hired me. I'll forego it for now. So I didn't even try, and I haven't heard anything back from the other thing. And I've checked the IRA. I don't know. It's a mess. All of it is a mess.
You better get your money, bro. Get residuals.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes.
I had a friend that finally got his money, and it was like $5,000. So do it. Like stay.
That's how mine was. It was all at once.
Yeah. To piggyback on what John said, for Florida, it was a hot mess. System was crashing. You could not get to anyone. I had 5 different numbers, and it would just lead back to the same line. So it's like, okay, we cannot process your call. We cannot leave voice messages. So practically, I had to figure it out because that's my first time ever filing. So it's like I'm doing something. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm putting the right numbers. I don't know if I'm supposed to put all the companies that I work with from 11 years ago. I don't know if I was supposed to put the numbers from just 2019, which is about 10 different companies. I don't know if I was to put just the 1099 and the W-2s or vice versa. It was a hot mess. So I kept calling. Finally, I think my first check came in May, and I had applied in March, so practically 2 months ago. And so far, I've only received 4 payments since applied for March, and my first payment was in May, and I've only received 4 payments, and now we're practically in July. So it's still a hot mess.
Martin, any thoughts on that? Have you had to apply?
Yeah, I had to apply. And honestly, what I ended up doing, what I found was kind of key as far as with the website, was go like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I tried and nothing. Then like I tried at 3:34 a.m. That was kind of the sweet spot for that. I was the same with everybody else. I applied. I put as many jobs as I could in there, and you just have to be persistent. I almost think they make it hard on purpose so that you almost give up. And unfortunately, it sounds really bad, but I always feel like that's their thing. They're like, oh well, they'll try 4 or 5 times, and then they'll stop trying. And you really can't. You have to continue going until you get what you need and what you're entitled to. But it took me several weeks to get it, and even at that, I'm only partially getting some of it because I do see royalties and other things from other things like that. But persistence is key for sure, and patience.
All right. Yeah, but Martin, to answer, right now what they did is they actually have the website from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. only on weekdays. So if you're trying to log on weekends, you can't. So it's like, come on, you serious? What are you guys doing?
So as we got about 15 more minutes, so I'm not going to keep you guys much longer, but I definitely want to hear from all of you. What do you guys think the future is for our industry, and how are you going to be adjusting moving forward? Are you looking forward to events again? Are you looking forward to working? Are you going to be cautious about executing events? Wearing your mask or making sure, because we all know like a lot of states are shutting back down because of new cases and the numbers are spiking. So what do you guys foresee with our industry moving forward, and how are you guys going to adjust when you start back executing events, or are you not going to go back into the industry? So I'll let Bluetooth, you can answer that real quick. I know you got to go, so I'll let you take that.
Well, for me in Florida, the numbers are rising, and I know they're threatening to shut down the state again. I know some people at work, they went back to phase 1. So I don't know what's going to happen in my area for sure. And, even if they were to open up, I don't feel safe enough to actually go out there. So it's like, it's really iffy right now. So it's just a matter of just day by day, one day at a time, because I really don't know if I want to be out there. Even if we have a tour and you need to be out by end of July, I'll be like, oh, I don't know if I want to take it. So it's really awkward. So it's one day at a time.
Okay. All right, Alicia, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I'm sort of indifferent. I'll be 39 this year. So for me, I just feel like this pandemic and everything has given me a lot of perspective about like what I need to be doing as far as like my next step in life. I wouldn't say I'm like not excited to go back, but I'm just not feeling being like in a hazmat suit, like activated. Like I just feel like that just takes away everything that we stand for. Like I'm the person that will go up to somebody in their face now, and I can't do that anymore. So it's like I literally have to strip my whole characteristics and my whole being. And then to what? Like, I'm just like, what exactly am I supposed to do? And then also there's a lot of people who are extremely afraid, extremely germophobic, extremely high strung. It's kind of like it's a lot of different personalities that'll be on footprints. So it's going to be a lot of this, like a lot of clashing heads. And I don't know if I'm ready for all that. Like it seems like it's a lot, for $18 an hour. So I'm just like, I don't know.
That's what I was going to say.
Right. I don't know.
It needs to go up. Hey, Alicia.
I want to have fun.
You're the most seasoned veteran. Like, how much were we like making back in the early 2000s for promos?
Literally like 25.
You don't have to answer that because it hasn't changed. It has to.
Yeah.
We are putting ourselves at risk. I mean,
yeah, we're always true.
I'm joking a little bit because
yeah.
Point, but it just, I mean, that's where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we've always kind of been in the middle of like whether it be friendly crossfire or dangerous crossfire. Like it just depends on what the activation is.
Oh, and these iPads too. Here, register with this. I just had 10 other people touching this iPad. Go ahead and sign up here.
Yeah, and this it's polarizing because it's like lead generation, this, that, and the other, like a lot of things that have been done before. Now, like I love the fact that people sanitize everything. I love the fact when you go to the grocery store, that they're wiping down stuff. People should have been doing that forever. Like it took a pandemic for us to actually start cleaning, So it's just kind of weird with promotions because like literally our lives are generated by human interactions. So it's like what is the next step for human interaction? Because I don't want to talk to anyone with like a face shield on, gloves, mask, like something blocking my nose, like, or like now with people impersonating other people on a footprint, I could tell my mom to go to a promo and just tell her to put on a mask, put on some sunglasses, and she's Alicia Bell. Like, that's going to be another thing. People are going to be trying to, so it's like I have so many things in my head. Like I'm such a Virgo, but I have a lot of different scenarios. But as far as like on the whole, I would love to go back, but I just want to know what are the conditions.
I've worked 2 promos recently.
I've seen little tunnels that you go through that have like UV light to kind of kill a lot of the germs and everything. And I mean, obviously hand sanitizing stations, and there'll have to be a ton of precautionary measures before we can even start to think about, do I want to work this promo? You know what I mean? And all the new paperwork you're going to have to sign, have you taken your temperature today? And have you been out of the country? You know what I mean? That's like, there's so many more steps that we're going to have to go through than just the training, you know what I mean, that we have to do and all the talking points. So it's going to be very, very different for sure.
Yeah.
And Gabby, I know you were going to say something, and I want Raven too to like talk about her experience, like working her promo this weekend. But what were you going to say, Gabby?
Yeah, so I worked I worked a motorcycle rally, and it was outside, so I was pretty comfortable. And the company was like, if you want to wear gloves, you want to wear masks, we'll have that stuff for you. And it was fine because it was outside. And then we were at a dealership, and it was the same thing. Like we sprayed everything down, had your mask on. Most people were pretty compliant about it, but it just wasn't the same, and we can tell it just didn't feel as personal. And then I worked another event for Lacoste at the mall, and I was just helping with extra help for them to sanitize and things like that. And everyone's like, oh, well, people are so scared, but I was at that mall and it was so crowded. The first few hours was they're open to about 3 o'clock. First 3 hours it was fine, but of course people want to shop. And then by like 3 o'clock, 3:30, I was leaving. There was droves of people coming. Most people were compliant. Like the store I was working at, you had to have a mask on to even enter. So that was amazing. But man, I saw that crowd and I was like, let me get out of here. Normally I would be fine at the mall, because like me and Matt worked at the mall when we had like during Christmas time, and it was just crazy, all these people. But we always like cleaned and stuff. But now it has to be extra, extra. And even that was like a shock to me, that some people are just walking around like it was nothing. The pandemic is still happening. Trust.
Oh, cars are going to have to be like roped off. You're not going to even be allowed inside these cars. You know what I mean? It's just like way too much risk until this goes away, whether it's 6 months or whether it's a year, whether it's when the vaccine hits or what it is. But yeah.
Right, no riding drives.
Raven, what were your thoughts on that?
So for our events that we've been working, you know, our company provides us with masks, with gloves, sanitizer, everything that, you know, we need. I don't like being hot. It was too hot outside. I was not wearing a mask. So, you know, out of consideration for other people, if people feel a little hesitant to come up to us, which they were not at all, most of the people didn't even wear masks, but, you know, I don't mind putting it on. We took some pictures with them, and, you know, if people still want us to have a mask on, I'll wear it. But most of the time we're outside. We just started back doing on-premise promotions. So tonight was actually our first night in a club. So I ended up not doing it, but a lot of the sales reps are telling me, you know, the accounts want us back in to sample, but we're only going to go to accounts that are complying with the CDC and their regulations and everything. So we'll see how that goes, but we're not really doing like sample cups or pouring or anything. We're just giving out full cans and drinks. So we don't have to do that just yet, but I'll find out when we get there. But I mean, I'm okay with it. I still take the precautions, and, you know, but, you know, yeah.
Jessica, Martin, your thoughts on that?
So the new normal had already started for me back in March with Geico at the Bassmasters. Yeah, it was people everywhere. I'm not even going to say it was social distance. It was people everywhere. And I had just worked the All of Us. Well, yeah, I did that too. I worked the All of Us research tour for about 6 days at a free health clinic. Kids had the flu and all type of stuff. So I probably got something along in about that Saturday or Sunday night. I did a tour interview and drinking not sweet tea, but hot tea the entire time, catching my breath. So Geico, we was wiping everything down. When people come in, go out, we was spraying. Me and TJ, actually, we didn't want to get sick, so we was doing a little extra. As many times they came in and out, touch screens, we was wiping. The people did appreciate it. As to y'all are the only booth that's actually sanitizing y'all stuff. So that was a good thing, but I messed up. I was around a good bit of too many people back to back, from a convention to the All of Us research tour. I definitely was too much in the air. So that really made me sit down, because I was out for at least over a week, taking meds, Z-Pack, all type of stuff just to get back to normal. So that was definitely a wake up call, because I'm never sick.
And how about for you, Martin?
So we have an event this weekend, actually 3-day event. We've got the gloves, we've got the mask, we've got sanitizing, we've got markers for 6 feet of separation, and the client has also provided us with a temperature gauge for our employees. So there's definitely a lot of protocol, a lot of steps in order to engage the event. But I agree with Alicia. I mean, my personality, that's, you know, you're going to have to change, and you're going to have to adapt, and you're going to have to, you know, figure out how to create that ambience, create that thing that we're good at, you know, is that interaction. And you know, there's a lot of people that can have a warm body and a pulse, but it's the interaction they have with people like Irvine, people like Jessica, all of us here, you know, that we're going to have to overcome that with a mask in our face, with gloves on our hands, you know, handing somebody things with, we have these little touchpad things that, so people don't actually touch the iPads, that are disposable, things of that nature. And so our personalities are going to actually have to be just a little bit more to overcome this kind of a sterile environment, a sterile, no matter how fun your activation place is, all those things make it look a little sterile. So I think that your personality is going to have to shine even more so.
All right.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, anybody got anything else they want to say before we get to the last question?
You know what I don't like about that new thing? It's like, for us, it's like this promotional world has always been about smiling and being super friendly. And it's not now with the mask, it's like people don't see the smile anymore. And it's like, come on, what's the purpose of being out there if we're not engaging people with our smiles and just saying, hey, welcome, and making those funny faces? It's like you don't see anyone.
Yes.
So,
I do that in the grocery stores. I'm smiling, like, you can't even see me smile.
But like, how many people have been a mascot and you're still smiling in the costume? Like,
yeah.
You.
I can't breathe in that mask. I'm gonna be real with Ray Van. I cannot breathe in that mask. I'm like, you know what? I'm limiting how many times I go out because I can't. The mask is just like suffocating me, and I'm just like, this is in and out, and that's it.
Correct.
It's hard. It really is. It's an adjustment. Like I normally just do it where it's necessary, and then other than that, I'm free.
Correct.
All right. So last question.
I mean, I was truly freaked out how. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying I was truly freaked out on how close, like, everything closed down. So I worked PAX East the end of February, and I was up there and it was fine, but then all these companies started backing out. Like, I think PlayStation didn't show up. And for PlayStation to not show up to a huge gaming convention was insane. And then I was in New York and we went on Broadway, and then I went to the Bronx Zoo on a free day on Wednesdays. There was nobody there. And even my friend staying with me, she's like, this is creepy. And my mom was like, you better get back down here to Atlanta. So I booked a flight, and literally 2 days later, they shut down everything Broadway. It was so crazy. And then my friend that I was staying with ended up getting COVID anyway. So my mom was like, you better be happy you got out of there in time. I mean, it was so scary, the stark contrast within a week. So I think people need to take it seriously. And I'm really hoping, I really hope we don't have a resurgence as bad.
Yeah,
because it was legit scary.
I was in San Francisco like the last week of February, and that was when they canceled. What was that? Like some Salesforce or something like that. So yeah, I probably would have been in the mix too. Probably would have got sick. Because that's when San Francisco was completely wiped out almost.
Mm-hmm. All right. So before we go, I want to hear from each one of you. What is your advice for EXP during this time, like moving forward? What would you tell them something that they need to do right now to either prepare themselves, whether they choose to work in this industry in the future, or whether they choose to just say, hey, you know what, I'm out. I can't, deal with the instability. I got to find something else. So what would your advice be to that person? I'm going to let everybody go around and get their thoughts on that. And we're going to wrap up. Let's go with Dirty South. I'm going to take you first. You've been quiet tonight. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'm a little weird because I worked 9 to 5s for a long time. And part of the reason why I started being a freelancer full time was because I just felt like as hard as I worked, I was dispensable. Like they didn't really care at the end of the day. And I was like, I don't ever want to feel like I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, or like, I'm dedicating my life to a company and I'm trying to move up, and they just kick me to the curb like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she went mute. Hold on. Can't hear you. Okay, she went. All right, let's go to Gabby. Go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
So I would say stay connected, just like Martin said. Stay connected to your company, stay connected to your fellow EXPs. Even if it's just like a social setting, it's always good to just have your face out there. Get your headshots cleaned up, clean up your LinkedIn page. I know Matt mentioned LinkedIn. Let's see, do your certifications. Any extra schooling, read a book. I just finished the Hunger Games prequel. That's something just to get my mind off of how scary everything is. And that book was fantastic. So I recommend it. But just, stay in touch with people. And a lot of us, we are social creatures. and we are not meant to be stuck inside. So socializing is very important, even if it has to be online. But just stay positive, keep your body right, drink water. Please drink water. Take your vitamin C, and peace out.
All right, Dirty South, come back. We'll come back to you if you want to finish up. I know your thing with me, but go ahead.
My bad. No, I was saying be like water. That's what I was getting to, because I just putting, again, like, I understand thinking ahead, especially if you're a parent and like planning, but anything can happen at any time. You know what I mean? And then all your plans go out the window because some people are so, stick to the path that then anything, like, it throws them for a complete loop. So for me, I kind of always try to live on the edge. And that way, if something comes up, it's much easier to pivot or to understand how to do that, because I just know in the past, I'm like, it'll be fine. You know what I mean? Eventually, I know I hustle enough and I know enough ways to get by, and just different things that could save me money here or do this or do that if it gets bad. Because I mean, I've been homeless before. I've run the gauntlet of things, and I'm like, I'm sure I'll figure this out. So my advice is be like water, move with the tide, surf the wave, and you'll be fine.
Ray-Ban, your thoughts?
I took a lot of time to learn, and I think it's going to be very useful for when you want to step back into the industry, if you do decide to do so. If not, then find something else you love and kind of hone in on that and do the best you can. So,
okay. Beatrice?
I would say definitely stay in contact with your agencies, with your fellow coworkers. Brush up your resume, your LinkedIn account. I think, Jay, you did a good job with that interview as far as, how to update your resume and stuff like that. So definitely do that. Your profile pictures, etc. I think it's a good time also to start thinking about investment, LLC, stocks, whatever you want to look into. Jay also did another discussion on that. So it's a good time to go into all those different videos and see, hey, what can we do? Looking for other jobs. Something it doesn't have to be a 9 to 5, but even if it's something part-time that you can still do your promos when promos do come back, maybe do something like that. Anything of that sort. Definitely you have to think about, something long-term, because our job is not always full-time. It's not always secure. So you really have to think about what's going to happen. What if things don't come back? I need to find something that will continue. So I think that's the best thing to do right now. And of course, saving as much as you can. Of course, we don't want to use our savings, but it's better to have the savings and use it when you don't want to than not having savings at all. So think about that. Don't spend just for the fun of it. Right now, it's not the time to be shopping around and looking for sneakers and clothes. We're not going nowhere. It's the time to be thinking about the important things, stocking up on food, and things that we actually really need, because we don't know what's going to happen.
That's true. All right, Martin, and I'm going to let Miss Bell close us out. Go ahead, Martin. What's your thoughts on that? Can't hear you. There you go.
Hey, I got you.
Yeah.
Right, so sometimes what we forget is how big our industry really is. It's not just the BAs that are there. It's not just the team managers, but there are people that make a full-time living just doing audio connections for tours. There's people that make a living just driving the things to the assets to the location. There are people that work at a warehouse, and now all they do is load assets to and for other tour managers. So what I would suggest to a lot of BAs is stop thinking so narrow as far as just the events go, because there's a lot of other things that affect our industry that we can do within our industry with the connections we've made. I know two warehouse guys. They were BAs, and they said, hey, you know what? We're not working at the warehouse full time for the client. I know a guy that all he does is drive back and forth and unload and load stuff for events. I know somebody else that all they do is they work at our office and they're literally doing research for events for the client the full time. So we need to realize how big our industry is, and we can still use the same connections to open those doors that may be more of a resemblance of a 9 to 5 if you want to go back to that kind of life.
All right. And Ms. Bell, go ahead and close us out tonight. What's your thoughts on this?
Okay, I would say take all the negative and just be ready to receive everything and turn it into a positive. Like, this whole pandemic has been a positive all around for all of us, you know, financially, with our families, spiritually. Just be ready to receive everything that comes your way and learn how to flip it, learn how to pivot. The art of the pivot is pretty much what we're going through right now. This is the season of the pivot. So whether it be starting your business, or starting your savings, or even starting to hang out with your family. Like, you know, a lot of people hadn't really connected with their family. Like, you know, I'm a big family person, but I don't get to spend a lot of time with them. And I was happy that I have been and have, you know, connected with family members that I should have been connected with, you know, a long time ago. Just learning how to learn again, learning how to like discover yourself instead of just kind of like, you know, I'm the Pepsi girl, or I'm the, you know, Michelob Ultra model. You know, like, you have to really know yourself, and just tapping to anything that makes you creative, that kind of brings you back, you know, to center. So this whole pandemic has, you know, taught a lot of people, you know, in this circle that, and myself included.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, on that note, we are going to end this first edition of EXP Check-Ins. I want to thank all of my guests for tuning in tonight. Some have left, some are still here. But I thank all of you for taking the time to share your stories, to share your insight, and to be honest and transparent about the things that you're going through. I'm going through a lot of the same things you guys are going through. But I think that through it all, we all have a story to tell, and we all have something that we all can learn from. And just bounce ideas off of. So thank you guys all for taking time tonight to join me for this first edition. We're going to see. We might have some more later on. And you guys be safe, all right?
All right.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye. Everybody be safe.
That was